out like a sore thumb. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever done it. I have a big background in the food industry. I actually almost went to school for culinary. I love the food industry. And any of you guys know that have worked in a restaurant, the back of the house might as well be a sailing ship in the middle of the ocean because of the language that's going on back there. I mean, there's a movie called Chef, and just because of the language, it got rated R. And it's an awesome movie if you haven't had the chance to see it. But that's kind of my background, and also in that environment, in the same way that Pastor Ryan was in these steel mills. We just stuck out. There was something different about us. We didn't speak the same way. We didn't think the same way. We didn't react the same way. Somebody dropped a hot pan on me. I didn't pick it up and smack them in the face. I just picked them up and like accidentally drop it in their toes. You know? We were different. There was something different about this. And because of that difference, it opened the door for Pastor Ryan to preach the gospel to these people. So it opened the door for him to share how amazing Jesus is, how loving he is, how accepting he is. Through all of this, eventually people invited him to his home. He shares a hilarious story of this guy invited him over to dinner, like, dude, you got to come to dinner with me. And he gets there, and he opens the door, and he's like, honey, you got to come out and meet this guy. You won't believe it. He doesn't cuss. Like, that was the first thing he said. And they were mind-blown at the point that he was different. And he preached the gospel with them, and they accepted Jesus, and they wanted more. But now Pastor Ryan had this issue that he couldn't find a church to put them in. And maybe some of you guys feel that way today. Maybe some of you guys love Jesus and love the gospel, and perhaps you feel like Gandhi, where you're able to say, I love Jesus, but I'm not sure about your Christians. You just couldn't find a home. You couldn't find a place that would accept you. You couldn't find a place that would let you grow at your own pace. You couldn't find a place that wouldn't judge you for being rough around the edges. And so in the same way, Pastor Ryan searched and searched and searched and searched for a church where these men wouldn't be judged. And he had a really hard time finding one. Pastor Ryan came out of an amazing church called Seacoast over in South Carolina, thank you, South Carolina, and that church was very accepting, very loving. He was looking for something like that because he knew that these guys were rough around the edges. He knew that these guys wouldn't necessarily fit in with the normal church crowd. He couldn't find something. So it was, of course, very heartbreaking to think that, you know what, in 3 weeks, I am going to be leaving the city to go to another mill. And these guys that just accepted Jesus are not going to have a church. Pastor Ryan understanding the need for a community. Pastor Ryan understanding the need for other people to be around you in your walk with Christ was heartbroken at the point that he couldn't find somewhere to place these people. And out of that was birthed a desire to have a church where anyone and everyone would be welcomed, where the gospel would be preached, and where we would see people be transformed, not because we forced them into a mold, but because our God is so amazing that he breaks stubborn hearts and he redeems broken people. Amen. And that's how the Church of the Net came to be. Along with that, there was a couple of things that we wanted to make sure we were. There was 3 things, actually, that Pastor Ryan set out in his heart to ensure that the Net Church would be. And if it wasn't for these 3 things, those people like those men, those people like you, those people like me, would not necessarily feel comfortable enough to meet Jesus. And those 3 things was to be relevant, relaxed, and refreshing.